All right, VShojo. We got. They confessed to the crimes, bro. They spoke out. Here we go. Please, please put these people in jail where they belong. They belong to go to jail.
VShojo has just confessed to a crime, specifically fraud related
Ooh.
to the Immune Deficiency Foundation, ironmouse's charity that she has
No
been
way. Did they?
championing for a very, very long time.
No way. Did they actually not? Did they use the money on something, bro?
And we have a statement from the CEO, which just blatantly confesses to it and shows not just that fraud, but also wild mismanagement of company funds for a significant period of time. Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire. This is a legal mindset where we teach you to be your own judge. And this is a fast facts premiere giving you the short, quick summary version of what's going on today. Now, VShojo is in massive hot water. And I told you guys days ago that this was going to lead to insolvency. This was going to lead down the road to bankruptcy. And we have today a confirmation.
Yes, they did actually file for bankruptcy. They absolutely did. But that's not going to stop people from suing the shit out of them. I mean, they may get away and not have any like actual debt, but they're gonna get their asses chewed out.
I was entirely right. They are going to go absolutely bank, right? It's done. They're in the red. They've got mass amounts of debt. They're not profitable. They weren't profitable even with everybody there.
That's exactly
There's no
what they
way
do.
to get back to profitability. They are done. And this has more severe consequences than just losing your Twitch emoji.
And what really sucks about this is that because they're a company, the shareholders and the CEO file bankruptcy not on themselves but on the company, because the company can file for its own bankruptcy. So this doesn't even impact the people that caused this to begin with. That's what should really turn your stomach about this. Because it's a company, they can file bankruptcy on the company itself. And here's the kicker. Some places in the US, like a lot of companies have like it's called a dead building, where they own the building. It's no one's in it. But whenever they put the building in a certain state, it allows them to take, because like if it's a multi-branch company, they can use the laws from different states to find loopholes if they get sued. So like, let's say in Texas, if the government tries to sue a company for mismanagement of funds, and it's against the law, in Texas, the company could file for bankruptcy, and then they could say, because it's Texas and because of Texas state laws, well, it's the company's fault. It's not really our fault. It's that company particularly. It's that branch that did it, even though it probably happened in Nebraska or something, and they can get away with it. So you'd be surprised at how easy it is to squeeze and weasel your way out of these.
Happened today on Twitch. The gun run global emote is gone, but they have a lot bigger problems than losing cute emotes. So we're going to look at the statement by the gun run and why this statement is absolutely insane, why it's a confession, and also why it doesn't get anybody out of personal liability, why they're still going to be held liable regardless of this statement. This statement doesn't move the yard line, doesn't shift anything really that far, because this statement is only a confession and does not remove any liability of him as CEO or even personal liability, which is very, very clear in this when you look at the factual situation. So let's read through the statement very, very carefully, and then I'm going to analyze it after we go through it. So here's a statement from VShojo. This is on their X account, so you can go over and read that yourself. And you know, this is obviously unedited, etc. So I'm going to read this. VShojo has failed, and
VShojo has failed, and I have mismanaged the company into the situation you're all witnessing. So today I am sharing the difficult news that VShojo is shutting down, and I take full responsibility for the decision that led us to this point. I've been doing everything I can to fundraise and right the ship this past few months, but despite my efforts, we are in a worse position, and those I care about are now paying the price. Over the past few years, we raised around $11 million to pursue a bold, talent-first approach in VTubing, prioritizing creators and communities over short terms profit to achieve long-term sustainability. Our funding went directly to our creators through generous splits, debate investments, infrastructure, concerts, events, and staffing, all designed to support them. We also wanted talent to own their IP, which we knew was a unique creator-first approach for an agency. However, despite all of our efforts, the business failed to generate the revenue we needed to sustain that model, and eventually we ran out of money. Additionally, I acknowledged that some of the money spent by the company was raised in connection with talent activity, which I later learned was intended for a charitable initiative. At the time, we were working hard to raise additional investments capital to cover our costs, and I firmly believe, based on the information available to us, that we should be able to do so and cover all expenses. We were unsuccessful in our fundraising efforts. I made the decision to pursue funding, and I own its consequences. I am deeply sorry to all the talent, staff, friends, and community members who believed in our brand. You don't deserve this. Justin Gunrun
managed the company this loans. So fundraising, he is talking about loans. He's talking about trying to borrow to keep the company going. Let's be very clear about that.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
So over the long term,
I read it out loud, so you fucktards in the comments, I'm fast forwarding it because I read it all out loud.
Used ability. You weren't giving them what they needed. What they needed was a paycheck.
They needed a paycheck, and they also needed the funds to go towards the charities that they raised the money for. The fact that you dipped in and grabbed their money and the charity money that they had raised is disgusting. And I'm fairly certain, I would assume that there was more than one VTuber raising money for charity. It wasn't just ironmouse, okay? Now, yes, she did raise a lot of money for charity, and that's awesome. But, like, there are so many other VTubers whose voices aren't as big as ironmouse's that were involved in this, and a lot of them were probably smaller. So I would imagine that this is really going to hurt them financially.
Run, not some weird station advertising. Okay, let's continue here. Our funding went directly to creators through generous splits, debut investments, infrastructure, concerts, events, and staff. So, as I later learned, was intended for sort of investigation. Even the most cursory investigation. You need to know where $500,000 goes. This is not.
I don't understand. Yeah, like, well, I mean, I do. They most likely spent that money on whatever they wanted it to be spent on. I just don't understand how they could do it. Like morally, how you could spend $500,000 that was supposed to go to a charity. It's disgusting.
$250. It's not $350. This is $500,000 that just poof went somewhere. And
like, I don't think you understand how hard it is. Well, I mean, the right kind of people could probably spend that money in a day, but like, it's actually really hard to spend that much money.
As the CEO, you certainly have the responsibility to understand the major.
I mean, shit, they spent $11 million and they still went bankrupt.
Operations of your company. And yes, there's other officers that are on the line here. I know I can hear Tectone in the background skipping up. It's not just the gun run. Yes, okay, chill, Tectone, chill, bro. We all respect you, but you know, you got to calm down. Of course, there's other people that manage the finances. There's other officers. Shit. There's the CFO that quit. There's a management officer that quit. There's other officers that have left. We talked about the officer that left 2 months ago, and he just posted, he tagged Gun Run. He's like, bro, what's going on? No, bro. Sorry, bro. Leaving 2 months ago doesn't get you off the hook. This thing has been going on for a while, at least in terms of the people not being paid.
Yeah, no.
And also in terms of the charity misallocation. This is something that was done in
I wonder what they thought was going to happen when they stopped paying people. Were they just expected to keep doing their job and not getting paid? Bro, people got bills to pay. You can't pay them in fucking stickers. Like, come on. That seems like a huge problem with a lot of these goddamn businesses. They want to bitch and complain about, like how they have to pay their workers. Well, yeah, they're fucking workers, man. What you gonna do? Pay them in fucking stickers? You gonna pay them in stickers and fucking smiles? Like, come on, man. People don't want to work because they want to work. They have to work because they need to fucking pay bills. I can't stand this concept with these big business owners that are like, oh, well, if you're in it, you're not really in it for the money. Bitch, the only reason why I got a goddamn job is for the fucking money. What you mean? I got rent to pay. I got bills to pay. Some people got kids they gotta afford. The fuck you mean you ain't in it for that? Bro, you fucking the most delusional person on the planet.
So if you were there as an officer 2 months ago and you quit,
you think for 1 minute over 50% of the people that have jobs would be working if they knew that they didn't have to? Of course they fucking wouldn't. Most of the jobs that you get suck ass. They're terrible.
Not necessarily off the hook. When the investigation looks at this and they get into the emails, they get into the documents, they get into, okay, what happened here? There at some point is going to be revealed a number of people, not just the gun run, but definitely including the gun run, that were involved in taking those funds and putting them other places. There were discussions that were had. And even if they were had in person, someone's going to crack, someone's going to break. No one wants to go to federal prison.
Mm-hmm.
This is wire fraud. This is misallocation of funds. This is violation of fair.
Because they use the company funds for personal use. That is big no-no. Big no-no.
Other state and federal laws. This is no good, right? And assuming, once again, on the face that all the facts we have are true, which I have no reason to believe because they've confessed this now. They've said, no, we actually misallocated the funds. There's no further proof needed other than getting into who's liable. And if we can pierce the corporate veil, that means holding individual officers.
That's where it needs to happen. They need to hold the individual people that are responsible for this liable. Fuck the corporate veil. They need to find each one of these people and put them in jail. They need to find the CEO. They need to find the supervisors that knew this was happening. They need to find the shareholders. They need to find these people and put them in jail.
Employees responsible personally for these misdeeds. Mm-hmm. Yes, we need more investigation as to piercing the veil as to certain people and certain individuals, etc. And I do think there's a strong possibility that may happen. And I indeed hope that happens for some of these people trying to sink their head in the sand and say, oh, I later learned. No, bro. And let's show the proof here too. The gun run knew. He knew.
My favorite thing is that they tried to blame an American branch. Who gives a fuck what branch was struggling? Who cares? The thing is you still got to pay your creators.
The time. Here is literally the gun run saying, you did it, mouse, October 1st, 2024. October 1st, 2024, saying you did it, mouse. And really, the only thing that he needs to know is the feds will be looking at this post.
Oh,
right? So
damn!
That's what he needs to know. Live tweeting during a Fast Facts. But yes, no, that's all we need to know is that statement is there. We've got pictures of him with Mouse fundraising. So we see this guy out there fundraising. We know he knew at the time, afterwards, before. He knew at all points of this.
Yo, just imagine like they actually live stream the court trial and stuff. And you see Iron Mouse as her VTuber just standing there in court. That shit would be so... I'm sorry. I feel so bad for the people that fucking got, they didn't get their funds and stuff. But, like, that would be so funny. I'm sorry. That would be so funny.
He knew what was going on. He was not an ostrich with his head in the sand. He knew what was going on. Let's finish the statement here. Let's finish the statement. At the time, we were working hard to raise additional capital to cover our costs, and I firmly believed, based on information available, we would be able to do so and cover all expenses. What that means is they were trying to get a loan. They used the money they didn't have, right? They misallocated the charity money, right, to try to pay current expenses because they thought they could get another loan. They were already in debt. They were already $2 million in debt, and they couldn't do it. And it says right here, we were unsuccessful in our fundraising.
What a bunch of fucking jokes, man. Seriously, what a bunch of idiots. They getting what's coming to them.
I made the decision to pursue funding, and I own its consequences.
I bet you do.
So right there, that last one too, guys. That last one is very true. I made the decision to pursue funding. What that means is he made the decision to not pay the talent and to keep the ship going a little longer. So instead of paying the talent, even if that meant they would have...
They should have paid the talent and shut up shop is what they should have done. They could have left on such a better premise. But I think it's bullshit. I think it's all bullshit. It doesn't matter how you try to like
To
make
close
this
down.
seem
Instead
good. It's just bad.
of doing what was right and just,
Mm-hmm.
he decided to push it down the line. He knowingly did this, guys. He knowingly did this. This guy, and look, this is, I rarely go off, I try to stay legal and objective here, but morally, this is a horrible decision.
Yeah, no, it's terrible.
I think this is something that's pretty non-controversial, right? If you see that you're failing, you're in debt, you're not doing well,
Shut up shop.
You have to, at some points, be realistic, be adults. An adult has to come in the room and say, we need to cut this, and we need
That's
to do
right.
what's right. We need to pay people out. And look, I'm sure if
How is it? See, this is what I don't understand. So you've got an operation completely made out of VTubers. I could understand if you're having to bring people water, or you've got some, you're having to put makeup on people, and you're doing all this stuff, and you've got a big ass warehouse. This was mostly online. I mean, for example, like ironmouse couldn't even leave where she was living. So how did you spend all that money on what? Like, it's mostly online. Like, what are you doing with $500,000? Like, what do you mean?
they talked to the talent and said, hey, we're not doing well, right? We're not doing well.
Like, it was completely VTuber style. Like, everything was online. How do you spend so much money? On what? Other than shit that you knew wasn't supposed to be spent on.
Pay the employees, right? And hey, maybe everybody across the board, including employees, we're all going to take, including the CEO, we're all going to take a haircut. Everybody at the business has to take a 25% haircut across the board because we're hurting, right? And we're all going to be in this.
Not even. They had their own YouTube channel. VShojo has their own YouTube channel, own Instagram. They could do their own fundraising live streams. They could even tell the people at their own VTubers, they could have raised money. They could have been like, look, guys, we're hurting. Can you guys maybe do some live streams where you get money to help VShojo? But no, instead we're going to do the most scummy thing possible and not pay people. You could have asked. You could have asked. You had so many fucking VTubers that would have done fundraisers for you. But you didn't. You had so many tools at your disposal.
Team. Okay, whatever. You could have had that conversation. You could have done something. But they decided not to do that. They decided to benefit certain people at the expense of others. It's absolutely deplorable behavior and potentially criminal. Finishing up here, I am deeply sorry to all the talent, staff, friends.
Being transparent and honest with the community is the best thing you can do. When you're not being a scumbag piece of shit, and I guarantee you that's the reason why they didn't do this, is because they spent the money on something stupid. And they knew their goose was cooked when they did it too.
And community members who believe in our brand, you did not deserve this. No, and the Immune Deficiency Foundation didn't deserve this either, right? And certainly what this deserves and what this will get is criminal investigation into exactly how this went down.
When you own up to your mistakes, and it shows everyone who you really are. This piss stain, not legal mindset. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to circle your face. Your face is very beautiful, and don't sue me. I meant to say, for these people that obviously have bad, malicious intentions, from the get-go, people can see that. They can see right through it every time. And that's why they didn't do it.
Who made those decisions?
They could have raised so much money with all the VTubers they had for the company. They could have.
And
hell, some of those VTubers probably would have given more percentage of their money to them. Just to help. From what I've seen from these VTubers, man, they seem so nice and friendly.
How that funding exactly got misallocated. So that is going to be happening absolutely for sure. I'm going to be covering this as it gets more serious, as it gets investigated.
I look forward to seeing more.